welcome to ATV. I'm Suad Asfour. Dana Dargos is our guest tonight. Dana is an award-winning Lebanese-American author. Her journey with words began in kindergarten. She then excelled at UC Berkeley, graduating with an honor GPA in English literature. Her educational journey was further distinguished by prestigious scholarships from the American Association for University Women. Dana wrote the novel Einstein in the Attic. The book has earned widespread recognition, securing 9 prestigious awards. Beyond writing, Dana's articulate and compelling speaking skills have brought her to the forefront of public engagements. Dana's commitment to effecting positive change is evident not only in her inspirational content, but also in her work with NGOs. Her achievements have garnered attention in multiple publications, and she is honored as a featured senior in UC Berkeley yearbook. Welcome to the show, Dana, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. My co-host tonight is Salwa Ghamrawi. Salwa, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Suad. Hello, everyone. We're so happy tonight because our guest is a very special, young, talented girl, lady.
Thank you.
Lady. And we're proud because so far in our show, we've been hosting 2 talented women. Mm-hmm. So we're proud as women because we have talented people like you and like Nisreen.
Definitely.
We're proud of you. And let me try with you.
So congratulations on your new book. This is your first book, of course?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
With all these awards we mentioned, that's excellent. What kind of novel is this? Can you tell us a little bit more just as an introduction? And why did you pick this name?
Yeah, it's
this subject?
Sure, it's a science fiction novel. It's also got some adventure, drama, and some inspirational undertones in it as well.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thank you.
Very unique name, right? What do you think?
It's an interesting title, actually. And Einstein is a very, very famous scientist.
Of course.
It's
Definitely.
the most famous one, I guess, on Earth.
Definitely. That's
So
why we
far.
chose him.
Yeah, so far.
Things will
We
change.
don't know about the future.
Exactly.
But
Maybe another Einstein will
I know,
come out
somewhere
eventually.
comes up all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
You started with words from kindergarten, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you kept going.
Yep.
So how about telling us a little bit about your high school years?
Yeah. So in high school, I always still loved writing. Or let me backtrack a bit. In kindergarten, I loved writing, but I never knew I'd pursue it as a career. Even in elementary, I'd write as a hobby, create stories, write different short stories and articles later on in high school, and I still loved it. But I never knew I'd pursue it as a career until I read Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, and that became my favorite novel of all time. I loved her way to make you empathize with another human being. You felt every single word she used.
Yeah.
And you didn't know that another author could do that. So from there, I knew I wanted to pursue writing as a career, and I wanted to pursue it in some kind of way. So initially, I wanted to be a journalist, and then a lawyer, and then a forensic investigator, and tons of different things going on. But I always had writing on the side. I always wanted to explore that in some kind of way.
Form.
Yeah, exactly. And then so now I'm just like, after college, I'm like, I want to pursue being an author full time. But until then, I would also pursue another daytime job.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
We wish you the best.
Thank you.
So we also mentioned that you excelled in UC Berkeley and graduated with an honor GPA in English. So can you tell us more about your experience at UC Berkeley?
Sure. It was definitely something I did not expect.
Really?
Yeah, I went after high school, I went to community college. And from there, I transferred, actually.
Yeah.
And the levels between Berkeley and community college, they're completely different. So there was a huge gap where you were kind of thrown to the sharks, and you had to figure out how to swim. You had to figure out, okay, how do I balance my schedule? How do I figure out how to improve myself as a writer, especially when the feedback, admittedly, I received from professors, assistants,
Wow.
they were very vague at times. And also, honestly, for me, I didn't know how to communicate and ask for help. So I had to learn how to do that as well. And the standards were extremely high. So
Wow.
yeah, I remember a friend's ex-husband now, he went to Columbia and then he transferred to Berkeley, and he said Berkeley's English department was even harder than Columbia, and that was
Wow.
Columbia's on top with Harvard. So
yeah.
that definitely illustrates having to figure out how to navigate that level of perfection while also believing in yourself and not sacrificing yourself for just grades.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's excellent. So she's been excelling since she was in kindergarten, and look where she went to.
Yeah, but
This
it
is
must
really
be
good.
hard.
Oh yeah, it was hard,
Filling
but
the
you
gap
ha- you have
between
to
these
work
two
hard.
standards.
Exactly.
But
Rewarding, though.
You might work very hard.
Of
on
course,
yourself.
success
Definitely.
doesn't come easy. Everything
Nothing
takes
is
some
easy.
extra work.
yeah, rewarding, because there's so much education and lessons you learn from the professors there that you can't even find online.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I even tried looking up their lectures, the ideas they expressed in lectures. I couldn't find anything online.
Ooh, so
Yeah.
you've been working hard.
You did very good. So tell us about now about your scholarships. You had.
Yeah. So one of them, it was actually a women's-based scholarship, which is, I'm pretty proud to say that, especially being on this show, where we talk,
yeah.
we try to empower women and each other and whatnot.
Definitely.
Of course.
Yeah.
This show will play around
We
International
pro
Women's Day.
all the time,
Of course.
every day. We need to stand up for ourselves.
Definitely.
And we're not missing anything. We have all the talents, all the tools we need just to thrive.
Yeah,
It's about time, right?
exactly. Especially as a Arab woman,
Oh,
since
yes.
that our power and our abilities and our talents weren't entirely recognized before. The spotlight was always on men, and now it's shifting over to women.
yeah.
So it's an exciting time.
Oh, you think we're going to let them win?
Nope, of course not.
So this book, you wrote it in collaboration with your uncle?
Yes.
How was
Saeed
that?
al-Basri.
How hard was that? Was it easy? I mean, it's a new experience for anyone if they hear that you have your uncle also on this.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely challenging at first. So we initially started the project in 2015 when I traveled to Lebanon to visit family. Over there, we got the idea together for the novel.
Yeah.
Me and Saeed, we were always very close to one another. We'd always talk about different subjects, such as politics, film, history, books. So he's a very, God bless him, he's a very knowledgeable man.
Do you think he helped you to get it widespread and you got the 9 awards because of him?
Definitely.
That helped.
Yeah, his ideas in the novel, it definitely helped pull it together as a novel.
Nice.
So I remember we were chatting about how both of us, we were very curious people. And I remember, so for me in high school, just as a curious person, I wondered about God. I definitely believe in God. I'm a Muslim, but as a teenager and going through a rebellious phase, of course, I wondered about it. But in our culture, it's a taboo to say you're curious about it or to say
you have some doubts.
Exactly.
You cannot open
not
up.
easy.
No, it's a
this is very sensitive subject.
yes. You're immediately marked with an X and you're criticized.
And you labeled right away.
oh yeah,
People
what
label
a
you
bad kid. You weren't
immediately.
raised right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
yeah. So
Especially our culture.
yeah, exactly. Which is why I felt like it was actually the perfect topic to explore. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that particular idea in a bit. But so Saeed, he was also curious about it when he was younger. And in 2015, there was a lot of events going on. I think, Trump was running. Gun violence was at an all-time high here in the States. There was the issue of, I believe, Russia invading Syria or Yemen at the time. So the world was in chaos.
Yeah.
And, together.
Syria.
Yeah, exactly. And we were wondering, that was just us going through a phase before. How about now? How are people thinking about God now? Were they wondering, where is He to help out?
Yeah.
How are all of these terrible things occurring, etc.? And
Yes.
especially with the scientific communities, we felt like they, if you ever proposed the idea of a God to them, a lot of them would instantly jump on you and say, there's no God, there's evolution to dispute it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's actually evidence of a God, using scientific evidence that a lot of scientists neglect to bring up to audiences. So we felt like that was a good idea to explore. And then after 2015, I stopped working on it because I went to Berkeley and I was very busy. And it was actually around COVID where we started working across 2 continents, mostly on WhatsApp, calling and chatting and writing chapters together. So we would go line by line and while we were on the phone together and say, what do you think of this line? Does it sound like one character is speaking? And we would take turns writing lines or even chapters sometimes. And we were working together on it 100% to make sure it was fair and also one character
Yeah, but
was
it's a
talking about it.
difficult process because it's not one author. Usually one author, you know when you stop, where you
Exactly.
start. If you change your mind, you could change right away. Whatever it happens to you, you fix it right away. But when there is a partner, it's a different story. You have to talk to
Yeah.
him, and you have to arrange, and you have to coordinate in a
Oh,
way.
yeah. You have to consult
it's
each
extra
other.
work.
It
So
is.
during quarantine, I was sleeping. She was writing a book. That's excellent timing, right?
I mean, everyone
You
needs
made-
sleep too.
yeah.
On my catch-up days, I sleep too.
I hibernated for 2 years.
I think we all need a hibernation now after all these events going on.
Yeah.
So, Dana, we need to know about your public speaking, about
Oh,
you're
yeah.
a public speaker. So tell us about
Yeah,
this
you're going up the
experience.
ladder very fast.
Yeah.
We
You're
want to
very
hear it all.
active. I mean,
Definitely.
you're
How
an
can you-
influencer. So
How you
tell
manage
us about
all
your
that?
stories in this field.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's a gift how I'm able to manage all of that and spread my time across different areas. So yes, I'm an influencer. I'm always posting on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and I'm posting quotes and author content and sometimes personal things to show people I'm human too and to keep
course
them
you are.
interested. Yeah. And I'm also an activist and posting about the unfortunate events in Palestine right now because as a human being, I feel like I have to stand up
You
for
cannot
other
be
human beings.
not
Okay.
affected by
So,
this deep.
yeah,
Exactly.
with the title of the book, who can read this book? Is this like for all ages? Is this specifically a group of people that would really enjoy it? Or is this open for everybody and all ages?
It's for adults, and it's sci-fi fiction, but it has something for everyone, I feel. So it explores mental health. It explores the civil war in Lebanon a bit. It explores the trauma people experience. It explores the idea of a God. It explores going on
Scientific society.
exactly
Yeah.
going on an adventure. It has humor in there
The
to keep it
media.
entertaining.
And
the media,
yeah.
and the media is
This-
definitely
the
relatable right
deceiving
now.
media,
Oh yeah,
the biased
the
media.
double standards.
I
Yes.
mean, yeah, double standard. It has so many subjects, and they're
Yeah.
all deep ones. It's
I
not-
noticed some adult language in there, so
That's for a reason.
I had to ask, what is the reason for that?
Yeah. Well, the main character, he grows up in the civil war in Lebanon, and he experiences a lot of trauma. He experiences some bad events occurring with his parents, so he loses essentially all hope and everything.
Yeah.
So because of that, he has so much anger, so much rage, so much angst within himself. So he just curses, and it kind of reflects his growing up in that
Yeah.
environment. And of course, not everyone curses when they grow up in that kind of environment, but a lot of people do. So that cursing's for a reason. It's not
Yeah.
me deciding, hey, let's put a lot of cursing for fun.
Yeah, well, it's
No,
okay.
but it was very obvious. I mean,
Yeah.
it's too much cursing.
But it's okay. She was born in this country, so
Yeah,
it's
plus
natural.
Plus,
pretty
Adam
much.
was raised in this country here. I'm sure if he was raised in Lebanon, for example, the cursing would be brought down to
More
a bit
conservative.
more of a minimum.
So
Well, that's good.
what was it the hardest part writing this book, and then the most fun part? I mean, there is
Yeah.
the fun and the hard things.
I would say the most hard part was making it entertaining and balancing both the serious nature of the novel and then also the dramatic aspects, but also making it inspiring and entertaining for all audiences at the same time. Because when you hear someone saying, oh, it's about if God exists or not, then that throws them off. They're like, oh, I don't want anything to do with it. Oh, what a
wow.
heavy subject, especially for Middle Eastern communities. And I feel like we've written it of course, for a lot of different immigrant communities, a lot of different immigrants and Americans can relate to it. But I feel like we really hit the nail on the head with this novel because we explored a lot of topics that a lot of Middle Easterners can relate to, but aren't really able to express out of fear of being judged or criticized or segregated from society in a way.
But this question, we've been going on forever. I mean, it's not a new question.
Yes.
But that means the subject of the book is not a new one. But the way you approach it,
Exactly.
it's a new one.
Yeah.
It's like appealing, and you make it lovable a little bit.
Yeah.
Because science is a dry material.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
you made it
That's true,
interesting.
but the
You
evidence
need to make it a
especially.
little bit likable here and there, some jokes, some fun.
Yeah.
It was funny when you brought all these 4 scientists
Yeah, so
from the other world.
even on the top of the whole thing, and you nailed it. And I'm sure there will be some challenging time publishing your first book.
Yes.
Did you face any hard time in doing so? What was it?
Yeah. So firstly, we pitched to about 250 literary agents and agents. So it was a long process. It took a year to finally get it published.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one aspect. Another was, of course, staying ambitious and perseverant, because pitching for that long, it drains you, of course. I think any human being would be drained.
Yes.
But still, you have to be confident in your work and know that, no, this is worth publishing. This is something that people have to read. And yes, while it explores ideas that have already existed, like you said, it's presented in a way that hasn't been presented before.
The approach is new.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
you believed in it. You believed in the
Yes.
idea, and you believed in yourself, so that
Exactly.
helped.
But then you had difficulties because it was your first book.
It was your
And
first.
you're not known.
Yeah.
And you have to convince them.
Yes.
So do you think any author needs a publisher?
You know, it's an interesting question, because before that was the number one way to get published and well known and all of that. But nowadays, with the rise of social media, a lot of authors are getting either they will self-publish through social media and get a very high following, and then their book launches into popularity that way. While other people, they go the traditional route and they get signed by a publisher or an agent. But you know, there's limited power with that. So before, there was, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of publishers and agents. They would spend a lot of time promoting their authors, spending a lot of money on their marketing campaigns. Now it's like, even if you get represented by a big publisher, you still have to do a lot of the work yourself. So they will help.
But why? They're taking percentage, right?
Yeah.
Of the revenue.
Yep.
So
Of
they need to
course.
do their part,
Yeah.
like marketing for you. I'm creating events to just market the book.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I agree.
advertisement, for exposure.
I agree.
What's
No?
the funnest
Yeah.
thing about publishing this book? What was the fun time you had, and when and why?
The funnest
We
thing
talked about
publishing.
the hard time that you faced.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was
Oh, yeah,
little fun
there was
into it.
lessons with that too that I appreciated. The funnest thing about publishing this book was probably, you know, at the same time creating my own brand. I feel like that might not be the most fun thing to people, but at the same time, it is to me.
To you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking
because-
about you.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it is
Good,
to me
good.
because I get to learn something new. I implement hard work. I figure out,
Yeah.
okay, how do I create my own brand at the same time? So here's the book. Here's your brand. What other opportunities come from that brand? And for those opportunities, I've got to know so many amazing people, some
Yeah.
TV hosts,
You expand your
podcasters.
knowledge.
Exactly. So many other influencers, so many people that work behind the scenes. So such as recently I met a few people that work for Hollywood as screenwriters.
Wow.
or create little TV shorts.
Yeah, it
And
opens new opportunities for
Exactly.
you.
You would never know these
It
people
might turn
exist.
Yeah.
to a movie. Tell us about this secret. Spelling the beans.
Yeah.
We can leave it at the end of the show. It's up to you. I already said it.
Yeah, you already said it.
Go ahead.
I
go
blew
for
it. I
Just
blew
in
it.
case- Just in case we run out of time, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, I can't spill all of the beans, but I'll spill a little bit of
A little
it.
bit, the
Yeah.
idea.
Sure.
Yeah, it's options. So we got signed by a film agent, and currently he's going around and pitching it to different
wow.
agencies and casting directors and screenwriters. So it will take time, honestly, but
Okay.
hey, that's step one. It's
Well,
better
if you
than
need
nothing.
some actors, we're available, both
Of course,
of us.
number one. You know
we are
why?
retired and full-time available.
Why have Kate Winslet and Julia Roberts when I have both of you?
Okay, exactly.
We'll be happy.
We already took acting classes.
Dana, really, it's very important.
It is. You're a very interesting
that
person.
this
you.
book. But tell me, while you're writing, and you're really into it, you just met it, and then an idea just haunted your mind. Would you stop writing and write about this idea, or just you push it away and you keep writing? I mean,
Like, how do you deal with distraction?
Yeah.
Like, if something comes up.
sometimes,
Yeah.
I mean,
ideas haunted you.
first of all, is it an idea that you could also put in the same book, or is it a different novel idea?
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah.
I write it down because I'm the type of person where if I'm thinking about something, I'll keep thinking about it. So I write it down and think about how I can put it into the novel, but I don't make a final decision on the spot. I let it sit for a few days, let myself calm down, and then I go back to it when I can think more logically and clearly and see, okay, does this idea go with the idea I'm trying to present in the novel, the theme, the message? Does it go together, or do they seem too split, or like I'm trying to force too much in the book? And then from there, I decide whether to include it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, when you put it on paper, you feel like you're relieved.
Yes.
It's like you're giving birth to something. Because
Exactly.
really, it
As a
goes
writer,
into your
yeah.
mind, it's like a
yeah.
fly until
mean-
you get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or at least you put it on. And
Yeah.
then you're fine. It's there.
Yeah.
You could get back to it whenever
Exactly.
you need
Even
to.
even in my personal life, I journal because I have to just get those thoughts out of my head and just put them on paper. I feel like extremely relieved.
It comes out and you relieve yourself.
Exactly.
So you are officially writer now, right? Yeah. So when do you think it was? At what age you knew you're going to be a writer or author?
In high school, I remember
You were in high school?
around 17.
Ah,
Yeah, 17
years old.
Yeah, I'm going to pursue writing no matter what, whether it's a small side job for now and then it becomes a full-time job. But I knew in high school that I wanted to pursue it as
So
some
that
kind
is
of job.
your passion and your
Yes.
motive in life and everything. Wow,
Yeah, it
that's
fulfills
excellent.
me. Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
Did you get some criticism?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
no matter
What
who
was
you
it
are.
the toughest one? I mean, I know you get lots of compliments, and on the other side, let's be real. I mean, you cannot
Yeah.
get compliments all the time or
Yeah.
criticism all the time. I mean, there is two sides of the everything. How do you take this personally, or just you take it as an author about the book?
Yeah, juicy details. So there was criticism before I started work on the book. Some people would tell me, why would you want to explore that idea? You're going to ruin your name that way. People will think you're leaving religion. And, why are you trying to pursue a career as a writer? It's not sustainable. Go pursue something else. So I didn't have 100% support, but I'm very stubborn.
You don't need it.
Exactly. I'm very stubborn. So when I know an idea is good, I'll pursue it. But I'll also be honest with myself. If I sit down and think to myself, is it a good idea or is it not a good idea? I'll tell myself if it's not a good idea or not. And this is for anything, really.
But did you have any fear before? I mean, the idea is a little bit, especially we're from the Middle East.
Yeah.
And this is like a taboo.
Huge taboo, yeah.
Yeah. Consider it as like this. We shouldn't talk about it. But actually, lots of scientists, the more get deeper in their research, the more they believe in God.
That's
so
true.
I think it's not a real idea. It's a fake one or it's a misleading one. they're saying, oh, scientists, oh, don't talk to them about belief or about Allah, about God. No, they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
believe in it.
Yeah.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially doctors.
So
when they
I'm
do-
Yes. Yeah.
when they do surgeries and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, my
For
goodness.
when a new like a new generation they try to write, like you said, you go through some tough time or a criticism. What advice would you give to any young author who's trying to write a book and they might get discouraged because people, like we said, they don't really encourage you that fast before they believe in you and maybe before they see some of your work and what have you accomplished. What advice would you give to somebody who's young and starting to become an author?
I would say first as advice is to be completely confident in yourself. I know it's cliche, but it's that confidence that will lead you to success. I mean, a lot of people, such as Steve Jobs or other entrepreneurs, no one believed in them. And I'm not
Yes.
saying I'm going to become Steve Jobs, but it's just the notion of success. A lot of people don't believe in those entrepreneurs or writers initially, but they stick to their confidence because they know that they have some kind of message or idea that they have to put out to the world. So they also believe in that message and know how extremely important it is to put it out in that world. And then you also mentioned the criticism after the release for the book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course there was criticism after I released it. For some people, they couldn't really relate to it because it was from a Middle Eastern lens, which is
Yeah.
fine, you know. So
This is kind of discrimination.
Yeah,
yes,
but
They,
yeah.
they should read it first, then they can judge you.
I agree.
Judge the
I
book.
felt open-minded
Yeah.
about it. Both words. You get the best of both worlds in the book.
Yeah, I remember
The
there.
Middle East and U.S.
Yeah, I remember there was one reviewer, or no, I submitted it to I'm not going to say the name, but a well-known magazine contest. And the reviewer, she sounded like she had a very American name, and I looked her up. She was white, American, and everything. And there was discrimination because her review or her feedback as to why it wasn't a good book was it explored too many stereotypes. It was very cliche. And I don't think she had the right to say that as a white American woman with so much privilege. I
Yeah.
mean, who is she to say, who is she to express an opinion on Middle Eastern culture or the trauma that Middle Eastern
Right.
People go
Maybe
through?
she doesn't have the
She wouldn't
ability to
know.
criticize. Basically, I mean, to criticize a book, she has to read it.
Yes.
Right.
And to understand it. And then she can criticize your style,
Sure.
the idea, but
Sure,
not
because that's
where
their
it
opinion.
comes from.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time. We'd love to hear you more and more. You're very creative.
Thank
You're
Very talkative.
Yeah,
Time
we love to hear
flew
you more and more.
right.
I do advise everybody to read this book.
Thank
You
you.
can feel the open-minded personality she have, and I'm halfway done with it, but I will finish it.
I can't
Thank you
wait.
for watching us. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all of you. Thank you
you
for
for
having me
coming,
here.
Dana.
Thank you
So
for
good to
coming.
have
Thank
you.
you. Lovely to be here. And
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Salwa.
watching.
Thank you, Suad.
Thank you.
Bye.
We have to go. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.